Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photo chats. So would you use a camera that only cost $5 if it was said to be broken? That's what this was. This is a Nikon F2 with a MD2 motor drive. You can see the motor drive button is missing. It didn't have a lens on it. I had the 50mm 1.4 lens at home. But the body, they said, was broken. I had to put this collar on it because the shutter button didn't have a collar around it. The normal collar that sits around that shutter either puts it on lock, time, or on. And they said it didn't work. And I said, now what's the chances that an F2 doesn't work? How do you make an F2 stop working? I'm betting it does work. And I found out that that little collar that surrounds the shutter button that sets the time, lock, or the on position, there was a little piece of metal inside. And if I moved it to the center position, which is where the on position is, it would work. And if I moved it to the right, it would lock, which is where it was when the sale had it. So I put a collar on it, and I put a little gaffer tape inside the space where the shutter collar was. And the tape is basically holding that little pin in the 12 o'clock position so it can't switch over to the lock position. And it works fine. You can't kill a Nikon F2. A Nikon F2 just keeps working. And it's one of those things where, you know, how about the slow speed? Do they work? Sure. Everything works. It's a Nikon F2. This is a workhorse. Now, I actually don't dislike having the motor drive on it, but it doesn't work. I could take it off. The problem with that is when they made these motor drives, they made a space right here so you could put the key that goes on the bottom of the camera that opens the camera, so that instead of having the key right there, you would put the motor drive on and the motor drive would activate the key by itself. But the problem with that is the person who put this motor drive on didn't save the key in the key holder. If ever you pick up a used Nikon, it's got a motor drive on it, look for that key. It should be in that key holder. So there's a hole in the bottom of this camera. I could gaffer tape it, but I'd have to use this every time I want to open it because there's no way to open this camera without this key that's built into the MD2 motor drive. But right here, it opens the back. So I'll probably just leave it on. I like a big bulky camera. I like having a great grip. It's a workhorse, and this will be the camera I take out when I want to go out into pouring rain, when I want to go out into freezing snow. I guarantee it'll still work. It's a Nikon F2. And it was $5. I risk very little of my gear when I take a camera that costs $5 out. But knowing it's a Nikon F2, I know it's going to keep working, and it will give me results that are accurate. The shutter works, the lens is fine. Again, $5 without the lens. I put the lens on, and I had to put the shutter collar on. I had this little shutter release extension on another camera. I just put it on this one. And now, it's $5 ready to go. I love little finds like that, especially when somebody tells me it doesn't work. I'm like, really? What are the chances it doesn't work? I bet it does. I bet I can get it working. And alas, I did. All right, that's today's find of the week, $5 Nikon F2. Would you shoot it? Would you trust it? I know I would. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, hit the Patreon. Thanks to all my supporters. You make these shows possible, and I will be back next time. We'll talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.